But in 1993, they took a vacation that none of them would ever forget.
I've been vacationing in Destin since I was about 13 years old, and it's one of my very favorite places in the entire world.
Val Marie and her 3 children, Drew, Hayes and Anne-Claire, were staying in a holiday apartment by the beach.
Come on, sweetie.
Mom, can we go to the beach tomorrow?
First thing tomorrow, we're going to the beach.
Yes!
We had driven 8.5 hours and arrived probably 7:30 at night. I was very exhausted and asked them to allow me to get some rest the next morning, and then we'd hit the beach later in the day. I felt very safe in this room. I saw nothing that made me feel unsafe at all. Absolutely never in my wildest dreams did I imagine what was about to happen to my family.
Hi, Claire.
Next morning, Drew was the first up. While the rest of the family slept, he sneaked out to the beach. Later that morning, Anne-Claire and Hayes woke up and found the front door still open.
Oopsies! Oopsies!
The child was just out on the cart, just playing. And I assumed that, they just checked in and assumed that someone was watching it.
Market full of roses, ash.
I was getting ready to check out of my room, so I just went on about my business, and unfortunately, I should have gone and got him.
Ashes, ashes, we all fall down.
I walked down to put some stuff in my van when I spotted him. There was no doubt in my mind that it was the boy that I'd just seen minutes before.
God, someone call 911!
My brother-in-law came down, and I told him to get back to the 7th floor and start knocking on doors and find me someone that had a baby missing.
Hello? Anyone home? Hello?
I was in a dead sleep when I was awake, and so I jumped to go to the door. I was groggy.
Do you have a little baby here?
Yes.
You better get down. There's been an accident
Oh, my
downstairs.
God.
He and I ran out and looked down over the balcony. At that point in time, I knew in my mind that child was dead, that my son was dead. There was no way he had survived. That from 8 stories up looking down, he was a small speck on a piece of black asphalt.
I knew the boy had fallen at least 80 to 85 feet. I could see there was a little, trickle of blood coming out of his mouth, and he looked pretty lifeless to me.
Baby! Are you okay?
It was like being in a dream, denial that this was really even happening, and knowing in your gut he must be dead.
The emergency services had been told that Hayes had fallen 8 stories. They arrived expecting the worst.
I've dealt with an awful lot of medical emergencies and rescue emergencies. We've never had anyone survive on any type of fall over 4 stories.
So Peter was surprised by what he found.
Once we got there and started to do our patient assessment and we got next to him, we really didn't have anything we could report other than some minor bruising and very superficial wounds that we could see at that time.
We'll get him boarded and get a...
We were a little stunned by that. But we switched gears and went into a normal rescue mode where we could do an extensive patient assessment and get him transported quickly.
I felt for sure he was brain dead. I felt for sure his internal organs were completely like jello.
Hayes was alive, but no one knew how badly he'd been injured. He was rushed to hospital where Dr. Louisville was on duty.
Even if it was just 1-2 stories, you expect severe injuries. I expected the child to have some major fractures, possibly a head injury, and possibly some internal injuries.
I didn't feel like the news would be good. Even if he had survived, he must have horrible injuries that would, could be possibly brain dead, or we could be facing a situation of organ donation. And there were lots of conflicting thoughts running through my mind.
He was screaming when he came in, and that was actually reassuring to hear him. Because that meant that there was not any significant respiratory injuries.
I began to pray, earnestly. I had prayed for guardian angels for my children for many years. I was totally out of control, so it was in God's hands.
Dr. Louisville expected tests to show massive internal injuries.
Some x-rays, x-rays of his neck, C-spine, long bone x-rays, and eventually got a CAT scan of his brain. Mrs. Burton?
Yes, yes.
I'm Dr. Louisville.
The exact words I will never forget. He said, Mrs. Burton, I can find no medical rationale or reasoning, but I cannot find anything wrong with your son. And I was just completely overwhelmed and overjoyed and grabbed him physically and embraced him.
I felt disbelief that he had fell in these stores and survived, and I was amazed that he had not sustained any significant injuries as a result of the